So today I will talk about the challenges of a teenager that faced his challenges to achieve his dream. And I will talk about how you can use that the lessons learned by this developer to achieve your own dreams. So the lessons learned is take responsibility, believe, face your fears, and value the communities. And a common problem we face in our career is this motivation. And it's a very common problem. And sometimes we start a new component, a new project, and everything looks so amazing. And when you start to work, and each job you have it challenging. You have a situation that it causes this motivation in our life, in our job, and that story of my life also have some dismotivations environment. And many time ago, I was living in a not good place, in a very poor house, a very poor neighborhood, and I have a dream. I have a dream to work with technology. I have a dream to to do something, to create something that could help the world. And I was studying a lot, and many times I was the first student in the class. And but when I came home, and I look around, and there was no person in my family that could inspire me. My father, they always working on the fields, and I don't have an uncle or my grandparents that could be inspiration for me. And but I continued studying a lot, and trying to improve my life the way I could. And came the time, and I start to find a job, search for job, and when I look around, I didn't have too much options, because everybody in my family only knew do that kind of work. That was it was very unmotivating for me. It but there was a solution. I had to get a job, and when I looked around, the every person in my family only knew do that kind of project, that kind of job. And I was I was sad, because I was studying a lot. I have good grades, and I had to work in a place that will not help in my career. That was not something I would learn there that would help me to be a better professional, a better student. There was no person there that I could look at the person and say, oh, this can be my inspiration for my career. That was a job that dismotivated me a lot. And you can look at your career, maybe in projects that you have worked, and you can face situations, similar situation, sometimes you have a dream and you look around, and sometimes you can work, or sometimes you can remember some project that you have worked that have no brought no inspiration for you, because you had a dream, and the environment when you worked where you worked have was no inspiration for you. But the message is you continue to pursue your dream, because if you continue, you believe there is a moment that you will acquire one more degree. You can advance one more degree, and but that's when you are in the situation. Maybe you can't see the response. You can't see the solution, but there is a solution, and in the right time, the solution will appear. But in that situation, I was sad, I was unmotivated, and it's more sad because in that time I had 13 years old, and I don't have my mother nor my father working with me, but that was the work that I saw my father doing, maybe my grandparents. That was what I knew to do to survive. And I did what I had to do. And I encourage you in your job. Maybe your job is not your dreams job, but I encourage you to continue do what you know, what you have to do, because the solution is around, and if you believe, you will find the solution in the right moment. So in that moment, a teenager with a 13-year-old teenager, I couldn't see solution, but I had a hope that what I was doing, I came home full of dirt. I take a shower, and I went to the school, and I studied until 11 at night. I was sleepy at midnight, and another day at 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m., I was awake again to start my job. I have no enough time to rest, because the service is very tireful service. But every day when I come home, I went to school, and I believe it, that path to go to school, to learn, to search for improvement would take me off that job, that stressful job. And I continued work during the day and studying at night, and studying at the weekends. And I lived in a house that there was no electricity, and every night I used the way I could to have a light and study at night, study at the weekend, to pursue my dream, to have a better job, to have a better career. And in that way, I continued to study and to read books, to search for answers, because I like it to read books, and I have no much money to buy books, but I will search on the library, and where in some places there was books, I tried to find solution for my problem, because I was working in a job that didn't help didn't help my career, and didn't motivated me to continue studying, because no one in my class, no person in the school had that stressful job that I have. There is something wrong, and I continue to search for a solution, for a way to go away from that situation, to improve my life. And many times I talk to my mom, and I I thought that was a problem, but my mom said to me, there is no problem. Our family worked like that. Nobody in our family uh, overcome that situation. So she tried to make me feel more comfortable, because nobody had reached the the place I wanted to reach. But I knew that there was a path, there was a solution, and I continued to search. I continued to work, and I continued to work and to study and to search for solution. And there was a day I found a book, and the book is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, from Joseph Murphy. And but any person could give a message. That book had a message, and the message in this book, maybe the most important message, is it says, you don't came to this world to live a miserable life. You don't came to the world to live a miserable life. That is the word. That is the word I needed to hear. And nobody had told me that phrase. You don't came to the world to live a miserable life. And then I bought this book, and I read all the message that was there, because I need to know, how could I live a no miserable life? And I learned lots of messages, and I start to practice some main messages. That is the response, the solution for our problems is inside yourself. You should believe that. So I start to believe that there was a solution, and the solution was not there. The solution was not on the governor. The solution is not at the school that did not prepare me sufficient, but the solution was inside of me. And I start to believe that message. I was the solution. The solution was not out there. The solution was inside of me. And I start to continue my work, and I start to work with a hope that what I was doing was only a path to find the right place I should be. And then I start to work with gratitude, and every time I wake up early, I went to work, and I felt that that day was a wonderful day, because I was one step near of my dreams. And I start to be grateful because I was healthy. Some people become above the sun maybe 1 hour and they feel sick, and I was there the whole day above the sun, working hard, and I came home and I have a shower and I have a inspiration to go to school until 11 at 9 at night, at midnight, and the other day at 5 a.m. I has energy to go work again. So I start to be grateful by what I already have. Not I stopped to living thinking about what I didn't have, but I start to be grateful about what I already have. And you, in your job, in your project, in your position, you are in some place that many people want to be where you are now. That is the message that I learned and I want to share with you. And in the place where you have faced lots of challenges and you have overcome lots of challenges to be where you are today. Maybe sometimes you can remember the university times. Many times you come home, you have not time to dinner, and you go running to the college, to the university to be where you are now. So that is a lesson that I faced that problem and I faced that challenge. And I want to share to you that where you are now is an important point. You are in the path to achieve your dream. And then think that way. Some time after that I changed my mentality. I changed my mindset, and I was fired from that job, but I don't know why. And I have to face some fears again. I was unemployed, and what the message would bring to my life? What the message brought to my life? I was unemployed again. Would it be this illusion? And then I decide again to continually believe that was a path for a new position, for a new challenge, for a new exciting challenge. And I believe that and encourage you to believe. When you are fired, you are in the path for a new stage in your life. And then after some time, I participate in a process, and then I was hired from that job. That was the cleanest job in a company. From there, where I was, a dirt job above the scalding sun. When I start to believe and I start to do my job the best what I could, and I was fired. And then after some time, I was working in the laboratory from that sugar cane factory, and then that dream became true, because my dream was to work in a clean place, in a good environment, and learn something new. And from that moment, I was there, and my dream became true. And all the message that I learned there made sense for me. That I was doing a good job because I believed it, and because I faced my fears when I had no option. I continued trying. I continued to believe, and I believed, and I came there. And there is some other challenge in my life. And after some time, and when I wasn't that bad work, sometimes I thought to myself, how would I feel if that work was, if I was the owner of that job? there on that service. How would I feel if I was the owner? Would I be complaining about lots of plantations? And that was when I came in a better situation. I felt when that job didn't not make me feel sad. That the path I found a new job, a better job, and then after that, some time ago, many years ago, I had a grocery store, a small supermarket, and I felt the same that I felt back there. I felt here. How would I feel if I was the owner of this job? And I encourage you in your job when you are facing a boring job, a boring situation. You think to yourself, would I be complaining if I was the owner of this company? If I was doing this project for myself, would I be complaining? And in that moment, that feeling of ownership of the job become true in my life. My children was happy. My family was secure. My children will not face maybe the lack of food that I have back there. My children were secure. They could choose what they want to eat every day. So that was a dream that came true. But back there, I thought to myself, I want to work as I was the owner of my company, or as I was the owner of my project. And that was a moment that's the dream come true. And after some time, I worked with some person, and you have some problems. Some person committed some mistakes, and I have myself with lots of bills. And the person that worked with me, I have no solution, and I have one more time to take responsibility and take some action in a situation that was not common for me, because I was not used to deal with so much money in that time. And I felt hopeless again. And I start to think, how can I face the situation? Because every other time I can't see no person in my family that have faced that situation, that have paid so much debts. So nobody could inspire me again. Then I came back to my first job, and how could I that time face that situation? And then I started to think to myself, I have faced some terrible situation in the past, and I want to use the lessons I learned. And one of the lessons I learned is face your fears. I was terrified by fear at the moment, but I decided to face that fear and believe that there was a solution. I couldn't see the solution because all the person on my side, they don't have what to do. They don't say what to do, and they do nothing. And I decided to take responsibility and believe. And I remember that time when I started to believe there was a solution. I remember that I have finished my computer science degree, and maybe that could be a solution for me. There was no job. I lived in a small town. There was no job opportunity for a developer, and I have a problem we face in nowadays. Sometimes I face that problem. You feel anger because people cause a problem, and you have to solve that problem in your project, in your company. Sometimes you have to face that situation, and you have to work at night, and you have to work maybe overtime because somebody committed mistake, and you have to face the situation, and you have to take care of the situation that you didn't cause. And I felt that way, and I felt the fear and uncertainty, but I decided to believe and take action. And there is a chance, there is an opportunity, because some guys that studied with me went to São Paulo, and in São Paulo they have good opportunity. So it was a chance, but there is a risk, because in São Paulo, and we live in the countryside. I live the 500 kilometers from São Paulo. We believe, people believe there that São Paulo is what they see on TV. So when you say you are going to São Paulo, we are going to live in São Paulo, people back there in the small city, they will think how to prepare your funeral, because they believe in São Paulo every day somebody is killed, somebody is murdered, and if you go there, they will wait for the news that you was killed, that you was murdered. And that is a belief. And in our career, you have lots of that beliefs, and lot that's fear. And sometimes you have to face that fear. Sometimes you have to put our fears at proof. And many times we discover, and you discover that your fears are illusions, are not true. Then I called some friends that had come to São Paulo. They was alive. They was not dead. So my fears was an illusion. And I give you that message. Your fears can be an illusion. You have to put your fears at proof. You have to test your fears. Most of them you will discover they are beliefs. They are not real. Then I take a small motorcycle and I came to São Paulo, and I face my fears, all the risk on the street, all the risk of becoming came to São Paulo, come to São Paulo, and face the dangers of the city. I decide to face that fear and go there. I decide to take responsibility for the debits of my company and take action. And then I came to São Paulo. There was this excitement, because it's a new world for me. That is a world with lots of opportunity, and I was full of hope that the solution would be there. And I started to send the resume for companies, and that was another the fears. The fears always is present in our life. Fear of the dependency on relative. I was living in the relative house, the bills to be paid back there. If I didn't overcome that problem, then the bills I left back there to be paid. My family was at risk there, because the problems. If I didn't have a success in São Paulo, all my family will be at risk. But I continue to believe, and I continue to fight, to search for job, and to search for person that could help me. And then I found the people from the university that helped me in São Paulo to do the right way, to see my resume, to give me tips on how to improve my resume. And that is the message I want to give you, that message. Value the communities. When I came to São Paulo, I was hopeless. I have no idea how to deal with a small city with so huge company. And some person, some community of my university, they helped me to understand what company was asking for. And then that community helped me. And then for some tips, for some friends, I started a job. In fact, I was trying one job, And because one the guys on the community give me a tip, I got a relevant job, the most relevant job in the company that he worked in a huge company, and I got the double of the salary I was trying in the other company. So that's the other message. Value the community. When you have a problem, when you have face your challenges, value the community. Because when you enter one community, the developers community, the IT community are very strong. So, and you enter one community, when you post a problem, that problem become the community's problem. Maybe people will spend hours on night trying to solve your problem. So that is the other message. Value the community. Don't walk alone. Walk with the communities, and you go longer, much longer than if you go alone. So that's my message for this day. And always take responsibility. Don't wait for others solve your problem. Maybe don't wait the company solve their own company. Maybe you are a solution for the company. Take responsibility. Take action. Believe it. When in the place where you are, there is solution around. If you believe, you will find the solution, and you will face fears. You will have fears during all your career, and many times you have to face your fears. You have to test your fears, and many of them you will discover they are only beliefs. And value the community. If you go alone, you walk a little, but if you walk with community, you go much longer. So that's my message for today. Thank you for watching.
Congrats, Dorival, doing you're facing your fears again. So Dorival message is a very, very good message. This whole idea of taking responsibility, the idea of of believing in your message, right? And the whole point of that your whole story is important. I think this is something that Dorival is kind of showing in his presentation, that your whole story, and that's true for all of you, right? I like to say that when you hear a story like this, I start cutting sugarcane and I was very poor and then I broke several times. It looks like, oh man, that's such a bad story. But you, right? You also have a hard story like this. We all have, right? We all have struggled in different things, right? And even people that kind of were born in a very rich place and they had no problems and they didn't go hungry. But there's other problems. There are other issues that you had, right? You had issues with your family. You had issues with your boss. We had issues at school, right? We all have problems, right? We had weight issues, right? Or sickness, or this. We all have problems. We are very fragile creatures, right? Anything that happens, I like to say this, you're walking down the street and you trip and you hit your head and you die. We are very fragile. And because we're very fragile, we go over struggles all the time. So your story is very valuable because your story can help other people overcome their fears, overcome their issues, overcome their situations, right? So that message that Dorival is talking about is very, very important.